Hello folks, welcome to our next fight theory chat, discussion, review, elaboration, considerations, and stuff like that. The point is fight theory, and also with an emphasis on or relating to self-defense, or leading us to self-defense, or right? Lots of folks like to pat themselves on the back by telling you that in a situation of violence and danger, you should just run. And in an ideal world, or I don't know, I'm not, for lack of a better word, we like to throw in best case scenario or whatever. I'm not sure, best case scenario, ideal world, or whatever. But if you are great at running and you have the option to run, and it seems like whatever, okay, then it definitely is an option, and I'm not here to argue against that you should run, or that running is bad. I'm not here to argue that. But what I am here for is to discuss techniques, fighting techniques, things like that, and as well as self-defense, and how you could apply that to defend yourself, and in certain situations of physical danger and physical violence, type of danger and stuff like that. So one thing that I like to think about, not like to think about, I guess, yeah, one thing I like to think about is the circumstances where you can't run. Okay, so so anyone who's talking about this stuff, they should be fair to be able to tell you, okay, in those circumstances or possibilities where you can run, and seems like a good idea or whatnot, then do it. You see, why I say it seems like a good idea is because things get a little bit, you take more of a risk if you ran out of a reflex and you have no idea, okay, where you're running to, what you're running into, or anything like that. You just, so it's more like, let's not bullshit, okay? So it's fight or flight, okay? And you chose flight. Once again, we're moving past that first step where we're saying, hey, you know, oh, at least he/she didn't freeze. Yes, and total respect on that. At least they didn't freeze. There was some danger, and they did something. They ran, but they did something. But even in the situations where, or even in the event where you are running, we want to run in control. We want to run with control, with an objective, with a point. Okay? For example, you wouldn't want to run in the wrong direction or into more danger or worse danger. Right? So, yeah. So we're not going to just instill or pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, when there's danger there, run, and whoo hoo hoo. So forget all of these yokos with all of their fighting things and all of their things, and crawlFace with all of his techniques and stuff like that. You should just run. That's not fair. And okay, and that's not accurate. And for a lot of people, that's actually not an option. And we're going to get to that as well. Okay. Okay. Well, we're already getting to it. And one of the reasons, what we're starting with is one of the reasons for that not being an option is you do not have the option to run. So you're in a confined space, or in a broad sense, not just in a workman's. Okay, you're in a finite, you're in an enclosed, you're in a restricted space, you're in some kind of condition where you can't run much or run at all. You're on a bus, you know, do not. You might as well base everything, okay, on, like, for lack of a better word or whatever, like worst case scenario. But in the sense that you're saying, well, I'm on a bus and there's so many people, right? It does. Okay, give me the situation where I'm on a bus and there's so many people and nobody's doing anything, okay? And the bus driver stopped the bus, but he's still all the way at the front. The cops are on their way. That's really great. But for that 1 minute to 5 minutes to whenever, which could be like eternity, right? Somebody only needs seconds to stab you. So being on that bus situation, you know, forget about all that extra stuff. Well, forget also, do not be, you're not coming here, okay, to disprove or refute yourself. right, or whatever. But you know, you're not coming here to learn self-defense or learn about some fight theories and stuff like that, only to just say, well, I actually don't want to. I just want to prove and demonstrate that that's all wrong, that I'm always going to be safe. For example, people like to think. People like to think that problems, sociopathic people, violence or whatever, follows some kind of order, follows some kind of law. I've seen it so many times where people assume, surely this is not going to happen here. There are cameras here. There's a police officer here. There's thousands of people here. How many times have you heard that type of logic? Okay, that's in plenty of cases that is the case. Or somebody who's a predator or looking to, you know what I mean, hustle and do whatnot will try to do it within a low-key manner and not in the public or bring a lot of attention to themselves. But okay, that's fine, and there's techniques and stuff that we'll talk about and deal with relative and pertaining to them. But the point is, we also want to make sure that we're considering those people who do not consider the rules and the structure. They don't care. So it doesn't matter that there's cameras, it doesn't matter about any of that stuff, they don't care. So it doesn't matter there's a police officer there. There's no reason why you should let your guard down because you think there's authority everywhere. That doesn't work for a sociopathic person, a person who snapped in places in the public, okay? It doesn't matter if there's a fleet of police officers in a circle around you. A crazy person who could just take 2 moments to just push you from behind into oncoming traffic. See, right? So we need to consider these things and stuff. So in the cases where you can't run, we want to then be able to have some other options as well, right? About this running, running as an option, as a choice, you need to identify, okay, your pros and cons, what you're capable of doing and stuff. But some people are not great runners. So if you're an average runner or you suck at running, then running is not a good option for you. Okay? It's not, because let's keep it in a simple sense, right? You're going to get like 60 on a bar of energy, like a video game. Simple sense, right? And you're going to choose to run, but you're not a great runner. You don't normally run, and you don't know where you're running to, okay? But you just started running, okay? In the situations where the perpetrator, the predator, and stuff chases you, okay? Well, now, let's say in those particular cases, they run better than you, or they run as good as you, whatever. So they chase you. So eventually you slow down, they slow down, okay? And now you have no energy left because you spent it all on that plan and option to run. And of course, what's going through your mind, and yeah, like I said, get rid of those best case scenarios. Well, hopefully when I ran into more public. I ran and I was screaming at the same time, and hopefully all of that worked. And those are all really good techniques, regardless of whether they're going to work or not. I mean, if you're running, you know, and you feel like your life is in danger and stuff, and you're running, so sure, scream. But have you ever ran and screamed before? Have you ever went running or jogging with a friend and also held a conversation with them? So be careful about what you think you're going to do, even when it sounds so possible, so feasible. Okay, well, I'm just going to run and scream and yell and stuff. So it might not be so simple, and you might not run very far when you're yelling and stuff. You may get out of breath really fast, especially when adrenaline kicks in. Okay, adrenaline and respiration, not like what you think. Okay, adrenaline and boom, spurts and lifting up a car is right, but adrenaline and your stamina and stuff like that, it burns you up really fast. You could do an activity your whole life, and when you have that adrenaline going, right, you can burn up. You run out of energy really fast. You run out of breath fast and stuff like that. So yeah. Okay, so. This idea of running as a great option, as a great self-defense option, like anything, also depends on the situation, and it also depends on you and who's trying to execute that type of plan and stuff. I don't like it as a blanket rule. I don't like it when people just start throwing it around because it seems like the most clever, because we're all trying to just show everybody that we're smarter than everybody, so we're really clever. So it's like, oh yeah, your ideas and your techniques, yeah, let me just tell you something. When shit goes down, my friend, run. So don't listen to this guy, don't listen to that guy, just run, okay? No, don't listen to that guy. You don't just run. You don't just run as a blanket rule, okay? What I'm saying is, I don't want to get to the point where it's like, well, let's say you have no idea what you're doing, okay? Well, that's why you're here. That's why you're here. That's why we're having a discussion, so that you could start to have an idea of what you're doing, so that you don't have to run blindly, because running isn't always the best thing, okay? If you're not a great runner, okay, if you don't run well, yeah, if you have no stamina and you're not going to run for a long time, okay, these running options are not such a great idea. They may not be a great idea. If you don't know where you're running to, okay, so you could be running into worse danger. You could have just taken yourself out of a situation that had heaps of advantages to you, or at least an even level playing field, and you've just ran yourself into a negative, a disadvantage in the amount of energy that you exerted, and you're out of breath and you can't do nothing. You're about to throw up. Your adrenaline kicked in too, so you ran even less than you probably could, even if you can't run well. And now you've just run into a worse part of the neighborhood, or a more desolate part of an area and stuff. You ran away, so whoever could get like a beat on you, whatever strangers and passerbys could kind of like come, well, you're gone. So you're out of that situation right now. So you might have just run into more isolation, or you might have run into another spot, and you would have to redo the whole thing again. You would have to run to your next spot, turn around, scream, get all attention again and stuff, when maybe, but that's what we're here for. We're here to discuss some techniques and things you can do. I'm not an advocate of just running blindly. If you want to have fun and to be technical, I'm also not going to be a jerk about things. If there's danger and you have no idea what to do, and you don't know, right? And it's the difference between freezing up, and I'm not talking about a situation where there's potential danger, okay? Because as we keep modifying our circumstances in the event, so do the details. So whatever. So all the details also get modified as well. But in a situation where violence is going down, violence is happening, okay? Maybe to a bunch of people, maybe one down the line and you're there, or simultaneously, whatever, but violence is happening, okay? It's breaking out, it's going down, shit is going down. In that particular circumstance, okay, and if you want to ask me, well, do I suggest that somebody freeze, or should they just run blindly? Okay, fine. Run blindly, okay? But even in the cases of running blindly, there's still it's very hard for me, and probably a lot of people who have good ideas about this, very hard to just say run blindly, because I don't want you to run into the street and get hit by a car because you freaked out because violence was going down. In this case, who knows? You may have had a better chance just getting punched in the face or knocked out than you running blindly into the street and getting hit by a truck. So, right? So these are some of the things we mean. Also, in any circumstances, we don't really want you to run blindly. Okay, we want you to run wisely. We want you to be able to identify when possible.